Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tuesday Morning in the USA Writers Chat. And we are glad you're with us. We have a great show today. We're going to be talking about the 31-Day Author Platform Challenge, and we have a very special guest with us. I'm Brandy Bro. I'm here with my co-host, Melissa Stroh, who is going to introduce our guest. Melissa?
Good morning, everyone. We're so glad you're here as always, and just enjoy our community here at Writers Chat. It's a great group of writers and encouragers. And today we actually have one of our own and just a very talented writer joining us, and I'm excited to introduce her to you. For those who do not know, Bitsy Kemper is a proud award-winning author of 25 children's books. She's even more proud of her 3 kids, 4 if you count her husband. You may even have seen her on CNN, CBS This Morning, or various newspapers, magazines, radio shows, and podcasts nationwide. When not immersed in yoga, you can find her seeking solace in church or indulging in her love of dark chocolate, but never simultaneously. She fully enjoys rocking workshops from California to New York, and you can find out more about her on her website, bitsykemper.com. Today, she's sharing with us about the 31-Day Author Platform Challenge. It's something that I think a lot of us authors struggle with and would love to learn more about. So I'm just going to turn it over to you, Bitsy. Thank you for coming today.
Okay, so let's share my screen.
It's always fun finding all of the screens in the right place.
It is.
There we go.
Get over to the slideshow. Sorry, guys.
No problem whatsoever.
There we are.
Oh, nice.
So I'm going to talk about something I created called a 30-Day Author Platform Challenge. But before I get to what that's about, I'm going to talk through why it's important. So Melissa gave some background on me. One thing I'm excited about, I would be not doing myself justice if I didn't also happen to mention I have a devotional for moms and kids coming out on May 12th. So I'm very excited about that. That's my first book for grown-ups.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. So we're going to talk stats on social media, 7 big steps you can take, and then the small steps you can take on your own with the Author Platform Challenge. So when we talk about the importance of an author having a platform, which means having a lot on social media, being available on social media when people go to look for you. And as authors, the reason it's important, I have all kinds of stats here. You can read them on your own as well, but the visibility that you get, one research shows that 59% of book buyers discover new books through social media platforms, right? Engagement, 67% of authors say that social media positively impacts their book sales. And word of mouth, they find out about it on social media. You can track your ads, and you can also build a core group of followers that are going to be 2 times as likely to buy your book than someone that isn't a follower. Now, I don't have 10,000 followers or more, but when you get there, you're going to be flying. So the bottom line is you can't ignore social media. You really want it for your sake, it's not just a task, it's something that will help you sell books. So as you're creating your social media, you don't want to just put up a Facebook or a Twitter or Instagram for no reason. If your readers aren't on Instagram, don't waste your time. If you're on Instagram because you like it and you enjoy it, great, stick with it. But if your goal is to reach your readers, don't be where they aren't. So you should know the age of your reader, whether they're male or female. You might not know where they live, but you might have a general area, possibly. And by knowing that, especially their age, you're going to be able to better figure out where they spend more of their time. Like for my target market, moms, grandmoms, people that know people that have young kids, they're really mostly on Facebook. And I spend a lot of my time on Twitter. So I'll be the first to admit that I do Twitter for my sense of community, but I do Facebook more also for community, but I know that my readers are there as well. So I'm a little bit more careful with what and how I post on Facebook because I don't want to deter a reader from coming to me. I'm a little bit more snarky on Twitter. You might be able to find out how they buy. Are they once a year? Is your book, do you think your book is going to be just a big hit on Christmas? If so, be all over social media starting in October. If they are gift books, you should already know this information, where your people are already going to buy your book. Threads, Blue Sky, I don't know if you guys are there. I am not, because I can only handle so much. And I don't think my readers are there either. So let's say you have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'll just pick those. You do want to be consistent. It's best to have the same profile photo on each one, a very similar bio, and what I call voice. Like you want to be you. And everywhere that you are, you want to be your true self. But you can also have a twist, you know, like I'm more familiar with people on Facebook because I know them. Almost all of my Facebook followers I'm familiar with personally. So I'm a lot more familiar there. On Twitter, I'm a lot more big picture because I have a lot of writer friends and a lot of high-end influencers, if you will. And when you're consistent, you let people know what to expect from you. And that means that you will let them know what to expect from your books. Now, when you're creating a social media strategy or an author platform strategy, you want to define why. You don't just want to go on and say, all right, I need a Facebook, I need a Twitter, I have to look into Threads. Ask yourself why you're doing that. Are you going on Twitter and Facebook and Threads because you want to increase your book sales? Are you doing it to increase your growth of followers, just to have higher numbers? Are you going into it for a sense of community? If I always paraphrase Alice in Wonderland by saying, if you don't know where you're going, how will you know when you get there? So in the author platform challenge that I talk about, I asked you guys to give yourself goals so you know if you've reached them. And all of this that I'm talking about is online right now on bitseekemper.com/challenge. And it's a step-by-step, and I ask you to figure this out one at a time. So you might decide to create your own calendar. You might decide to use videos. And the fun thing about posting videos is you don't have to be in them. It can just be your hand holding up a book, or, or it could be you narrating things. So you don't have to be on camera every time. When I encourage in the challenge for you to post video, it doesn't have to be you. Hey, it's me. I'm going to talk about my book again. You don't have to do that. You want to have variety. And you want to build relationships. You want to always be you. The best way to interact with people is to interact with people. Ask them questions, and when they reply to them. Reply to other people's questions. You don't have to be the one that initiates everything in order to keep building your reader relationships. See what they're posting. Interact with them on their pages. So the author platform talks about giveaways and collaborating with other book bloggers and fellow authors. Now, are there any, I'm going to check real quick to see if there are any, or maybe Brandy, you can tell me if there are any questions specific to anything on this page. If you guys have had the chance to read it, like I talk about a blog takeover or mention for mention, like, share, and follow to win. Are there any questions specific to those ways that you can build a relationship?
Not right now, but we do have a comment that um, someone's palms are sweating. Just think about putting her face on video.
Oh, yes. So, right. So good news. You don't have to. You do not have to. You can still have
Yep.
an interactive video, can be 6 seconds, and people like to watch videos. So it could just be, you can do whatever you want without having your face on camera.
Well, I'd definitely like to know more about what the blog takeover is. I have never heard of that before.
Okay. So a blog takeover is when you have a friend who has a blog. Like, let's say, Melissa, you have a blog. Do you have a blog?
I do.
Yes, of course. And you regularly post to it.
I try. I need to improve in that area.
So, yes, same with me. I have a blog, but I'm not consistent the way that I know that I should be. I'm not as consistent as the way I suggest people be so that people can rely on you. Oh, it's Tuesday. She has a new update. But what we could do to double both of our potential audiences is I could do a blog post for you on your page, and you could do a blog post for me on my page. And basically that means you would send me the content, I would upload it to mine. I wouldn't actually be in your space. I would do something that I think is relevant to your readers, that's also relevant to my readers, and I would send it to you, and you post it, and it would be in my voice, it would be my content, it would be my perspective, and you would be the same on mine. We have a blog takeover. You could do it for a day, you could do it for a week. Great way to double your readership.
Yeah,
So I have a good friend that does a blog that does science fiction. That wouldn't be a great place for me to do a blog takeover, because I don't know what the overlap is on her science fiction readers with my devotional for moms, for example. So you want to be strategic with a blog takeover. Have it be with someone, have it be a stretch, have it be some potential readers that are there that you're certain of, but more that have never heard of you, to get your name out there.
it's a good idea.
Oh, also, I'm going to go back to here. The mention for a mention, that similarly, like if Brandy has a newsletter, if you mention my book with a link, I'll mention your book with a link, or my platform challenge, something like that. I'd like to suggest that people reuse and repurpose what they've already done instead of continuing to recreate the wheel. Take something that you posted last year. You know, there's so much online. Our brains are being bombarded every day. Odds are pretty high that I'm not going to remember what you posted last year specifically. And also, they say for advertising, it takes at least 3 views of an ad for someone to remember it, and at least 10 views of an ad before they would consider acting on it. So, you know, those billboards, that's why billboards are so effective, because you're driving by it every day, you know, on the freeway. That's why billboards are huge for advertising. Every time you post on Facebook, go to Twitter and say, hey, I have a new Facebook post. Go to Instagram, create a meme. I have a post on Facebook about the Author Platform Challenge, because you're in control of all of that, and it's very easy to do. There are all kinds of analytics, and I know people are probably clenching when I say analytics, but the good news is you don't have to do that. The platforms already have created analytics for you. You know if a post on Facebook got a lot of likes or was kind of ignored. You know that. So you can go through, take a look, which one of my posts, which one of my videos had the most retweets, had the most likes, had the most comments. if something fell flat and you just didn't get a lot of interaction on it, it could have been the timing for it. So you could try that again if you are a believer in whatever that post was. But for the most part, look to see, you already have that data right in front of you, what kind of posts are resonating the most, and stick with them. You also, the second bullet point on demographic data, that the demographic data means the whether they're male or female, what their age is, what their geographical region are. The platforms will probably give you the information on that as well. You can just go to their site and click on analytics, and they're going to tell you without you having to do anything. They've already figured that out for you, especially your website. Your website should definitely be able to give you demographic information. Whoever your host is, they should have something in there that will allow you to see who's looking at your website. So the summary part of this the pre-explanation is that social media is your friend, but you have to define your reader in order to better target where you want to spend most of your time. If you have a good time on Instagram, have a good time on Instagram. I'm not telling you that, but know that every minute you're on Instagram having a good time is a minute you're not potentially you're reaching the perfect reader for you. That doesn't mean you're only on social media to get a reader. It's just the awareness that you can reach whoever you want, wherever you want, as long as you know where you are and where they are. That makes sense? Yeah. Adapt, engage. So if someone asks a question, by golly, answer it. Create a conversation. Be with people, interact. And a great way to do that is this. It's free. I created it. I guess I can click to it right now. I have this on, it's bitsycamper.com/challenge. You can see that up top. And it's backwards right now because that's the last day. But every day has one thing for you to do that should take you about 15 minutes or less. So, well, that one's on video. I don't want to get people upset by talking about video too much. So here, day 15, we'll randomly pick this. And the challenge here is to share good news. So in detailed explanation in yellow.
If you clicked on the link, we are still only seeing your presentation. So we're not seeing your webpage because it didn't switch from your presentation to sharing your webpage.
Okay.
But you can do that. You can switch which screen you're viewing if you would like to.
Okay, thank you for that. Oh yeah, there we are. Resume share. Okay, sorry about that.
Nope, that's all right.
The examples that are there that I just talked about, they're all bite-sized things. And you might choose to spend a lot more time than 15 minutes. Some of them might take you 5 minutes. So one of them is share good news. And what I'm asking you to do there is to create an interactive post where you share something that went well for you. Maybe it's, I made the perfect cup of tea, you guys. I don't know how it happened, but it was the best. When was the last time you had a perfect cup of tea? Right? So share good news. I just found out my book launch, I'm going to have cupcakes at my book launch. Would you prefer cupcakes or cake? So you share good news and you use that as an excuse to get to know your reader better by asking them questions. And even if you don't get to know them better, you're interacting with them and you're having a good time. So this challenge, you do it at your own pace. I encourage everyone to do it, to pick any day of the week, any day of the month, pick any month, but commit to these 31 days where you're just going to spend 5 to 15 minutes a day doing one thing that's going to increase your platform, which should increase your interaction with your readers and ideally get you more readers. This is, I have a handout. It comes out in very small print because I'm not an expert with Canva yet, but I do have a platform. Melissa, I will give it to you to make available for everyone. But this is the action plan. There's not explanation behind it, but this is at least the subject matter of what you're going to do that day. So you're going to want to go to the website and see the detail behind what each of these things are. And then, of course, if we remember last week's talk,
Yep.
what's her name? Yeah. So my call to action that has nothing to do with anything is that I want you to buy 3 copies of my book, one for yourself, one for someone you know right now, and one for someone that you will meet in the future. That was a very good presentation last week on how to promote yourself.
Yes, thank you, Robin Dykstra.
Yeah, Robin, that was her name, right? So I'm going to have you go back here so that you just have to type in bitsykemper.com/challenge and you can scroll through.
And I've shared the link in the chat, and that should be clickable for those who are there live. And we also shared the chat for those in the group who haven't seen it, and then they can go and click on it there.
Here we go. So can you see this now?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Yes. Okay,
Thank
here we
you.
are. So if I scroll back up to the top, this is the 31-day challenge. Yeah, right. So if you just go to bitsykemper.com, you can click on it here. But it's in reverse order. That's a picture of my son. He just found out that he won some science thing. But let's see. Do you guys know what a listicle is? Oh, it's such an icky word, but I'll click on this just because it's weird. A listicle is where you create a list of things that are related. Like it might be 13 ways to clean your bathroom sink, 5 ways to get your neighbor to say hello. And then you create those things. So on this day, which is day 28, I challenge you to create a listicle. I give tips on how to do it. As some added information here, listicles are a great magazine article to pitch. Another just wild suggestion. That's not part of your 15 minutes of this listicle day, but there's thoughts for you to plan ahead. So every day of the challenge, if I go back here, yeah, to continue. Best advice, share your best advice. Share a picture of you as a baby if you're a children's book writer, or whatever age you think is your target market. Post a picture of yourself at that age, because that's as soon as you see the baby picture, you're like, oh, what is that? Any kind of photo that you might have. Oh, typo. SEO. Okay, don't worry. I do break that down. But there's lots of fun things. Even if you were to take the 31-day challenge over 40 days, the reason I encourage the 31 days is because everyone knows how long it takes to create a habit, right? So if you just do 1 or 2, you're probably not going to go back to the rest. So I strongly encourage, if you're going to do it right. And there you go. That's everything.
That's great.
Okay. Questions? I can go back to here.
So if there's anything that anyone would like Bitsy to get a little bit more into, please let us know so she can talk a little bit more in depth about that. Or if there is anything that you have that you're doing, you're working on your projects, maybe you can ask Bitsy her ideas on some of these things and how you can take some of this information to apply it to what you're doing. So feel free to ask questions. And if you'd like, we could invite people on now if you Want to do
Sure,
that now instead of
absolutely.
later? And we can kind of have a little bit of a round table and talk about things a little bit if you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, I love, I'm just scrolling through questions right now. Yes, by all means, you can come back on camera, but Sophia's saying that her husband is killing it on Instagram with 90-second videos for the reptile breeding community. Talk about niche.
Yep.
I mean, that's fantastic, right? He knows what he's doing. If people go to his Instagram, they know what they're going to see. They can count on it. And if they're not into reptile breeding community, reptile breeding, they're not going to be there. And why
Mhm.
have someone, it's like having a birthday party. Why would you invite someone to your birthday party that you don't want to be there, that you don't want them to be with you? Just don't invite them.
Yep. Yep.
We do have a question that deals on hot topics as well, and that kind of goes hand in hand sometimes too with algorithm issues and censorship. The question brought up is, how do you deal with censorship if your writing covers hot topics? So on social media, we know we all face that struggle. Do you know of specific tips for people who maybe want to use those that have audience or are interested in them but aren't sure how to reach them?
Yes. Okay. So I would say, now let me ask if was that Leslie, if you want to come on camera, or Mike, tell me, is your goal to get around censorship, or is your goal to talk about censorship? Because those are two different questions.
It's getting around censorship. I'm dealing with it not so much right now because I've kind of pulled back on what I've been posting. I've been posting more just encouraging scriptural stuff, but I've been noticing that even my friends who just post a scripture or post a prayer, they get censored. So it sometimes isn't even a hot topic. It's just the platform that you're using. And um, Facebook is where I see it the most, where your posts are just blocked. And then you're told that it goes against their policies, and it's not really even intentional to go against their policies, and you can't fight them on it. You basically are just blocked. That post is blocked. Sometimes your post will be up there, but they'll remove your content. So it's hard because if that's where your readership would be, because that's
Yes.
where your audience is, then it's hard to just switch to another social
Right.
media platform that's going to allow you to post things.
Yeah, I guess I would suggest to get around that. Uh, it depends on how gung ho you are about challenging censorship and if you want to make that a hot topic for you. But in general, if you had a topic, if you had a post that had a Bible quote about loving your neighbor, I'm just making this up, and they flagged it, you can write another post that says, I can't believe my last post was censored. I gave a Bible quote about loving your neighbor and somehow it was flagged. And what do you guys think? All right, make it an interactive post, but still make your point again, paraphrase what it said and say that it was censored. So that way you give a dig to the censorship, but you're also getting your point out. So do you think there are ways you could have rephrased what you had censored?
I did try that. What I did try to do was just have an avatar as the post, with a question, can you believe this, dot, dot, dot. And then I will post something in comments, and then it is seen.
Nice.
Because they don't flag the comments, they'll flag your post.
Right.
That's the only way that I've been able to get around some things. And then I start thinking, do I want to post something that's going to get censored? But yet I feel like we're in that time frame that some things that shouldn't be posted, I mean, shouldn't be censored, are going to get censored. It's just
Right.
the culture that we're in right now.
Right.
And I don't want to create posts that are going to be controversial. I
Mhm.
want to create community and connection. but I
Mhm.
also want to create a space where people can be free to discuss things.
Okay.
So it's been kind of hard because I've just kind of pulled back because I'm like, okay, I don't want this you know negative things
Right.
going on the posts, or
Mhm.
on my social media. I don't want it to be, but that can create more volume to come to your social media platform. But is it the right, you know, things that you want to happen? You want there to
Right.
be connectivity, but you don't want there to be a negative connotation
Mhm.
to
Yeah,
what you're
I
doing,
I think
because
what
then
I would
people aren't.
suggest then, if you're about to hit enter on a post that you think might get flagged, um, think about rewording it in a way that won't make it flagged. So try to outsmart them, if you will. So that way you stay true to the content that you want to share, but you are beating them to the punch and not giving them a reason to censor it. I mean, that's the only thing I could suggest.
Yeah, I think it's just sometimes some of the topics are just so difficult right now,
Mm,
that it's hard to post about them because
yeah,
you're gonna either get censored or you're gonna get the backlash. And
right.
I
Well,
don't I
then,
don't know how
maybe doing it in the comments is better for you, because then the people that want to react or have the conversation with you will take the time to look at the comments,
yeah.
maybe. Hmm, that's a tough one. First time I've had that question.
Bitsy, couple things. Could we stop the screen share so that we can focus more on conversation? And then there is another question. Is there a way to do this challenge without someone having a website?
Yes, absolutely. Do you want to not share can you not share the screen, or do I have to be the one that doesn't share the screen?
Yeah, just if you would stop sharing, then that will allow us to see
There we go.
everybody back on. There we are. Thanks.
Thank
And
you.
everybody who would like to pop
Sure.
on screen, please do so. And if for some reason
Yes.
you were taken off, I don't think that I took anyone off screen, but if anyone
Yep, I didn't
can't get
either.
theirs to work, then we can, of course, release your videos.
So how to do this author platform without a website? You don't have to have a website. I would love to find out why you don't, but you're probably helping yourself if you don't have a website because you don't have the time to dedicate to it. Then don't have it. I mean, that's actually a good choice to have. But 100% you can do these challenges with any social media platform. Without a website, you can still have a Facebook, a Blue Sky. I mean, there's something new every day.
Yeah.
There's plenty of opportunity for you to have an author platform without a website. The only time I would suggest you don't have one is if it's going to be outdated and useless. You could at least have a landing page. You could have one thing that says, "Hi, I'm Bitsy Kemper, and I'd love to talk to you through these social medias outlets," and give the links to that. So at least you have a website if someone wanted to look you up, and you're letting them know the website isn't where you're going to be spending your time. If the person that asked that question, does that help?
It does, thank you.
Okay.
My website is down right now, but we may have a workaround that I just received from somebody, so thank you, Catherine.
Nice. So yeah, I guess you can spend you can spend that much more time on your social media, interacting at least.
I really like the idea of repurposing content. I know sometimes we get caught up in the whole, I've got to come up with something new. What do I do? And then you forget to kind of look back over things and see how people have responded to information you've shared in the past. And do you have any good advice for looking through things and finding that and how to repurpose it?
Yep.
Especially like
I was
maybe
reading the comments. Were you asking, are there specific ways to repurpose?
yeah, if you have any little bits of advice that might help people to give them ideas of
Sure.
how to repurpose their content.
Okay, so one of the ways is to simply repost it. Do the exact same thing, cut and paste, do it again. Another great idea, and I love Canva. If you guys know Canva, it's canva.com, C-A-N-V-A. It's free, and you can very easily make memes. And by meme, I mean a post that has graphics on it that will fit in your square, in your social media, any social media. And the beautiful thing with Canva is you can take, let's say you have a favorite quote that you posted last October. Take that quote, go to Canva, put a new background on it or a new image with it, and post it again. You can repurpose things by taking a Facebook post and putting it on Twitter, summarizing it with a link to your Facebook post. You could add on to something. What about that? What if you had a topic you talked about and you have new information? You can say, remember when we talked about this? Now I'm wondering if, so you don't have to redo anything. You can cut and paste what you talked about last and add some new information or new thoughts to it at the top or in the front. Other ideas? Does anybody else want to share a way that they think they could repurpose
Well, I
their
have
work?
one idea for mine. As some know, I write historical fiction. And so sometimes for fiction authors, it becomes a bit of a challenge to know what you should share to help engage. But even before my books were published, I posted historical blog posts that would give people insights into the research that I did for my novels. And one of them that just went crazy, because I love Pinterest, and Pinterest happens to bring a lot of return traffic for me. So that's one of my social medias that's not really a social media that I share to. And I had shared a post on 10th century Irish clothes, and that went crazy over on Pinterest. People loved it. And so they were constantly coming from Pinterest to my website to see it. And that blog post was getting the most hits out of everything, competing with my homepage even. And
Wow.
so I have thought about creating another post that fixates on the Viking clothing of the 10th century, because the previous one was the Irish clothing. So then I've getting ideas here from just that alone. I think
Great,
that's an idea.
great. And maybe you can do, are there more opportunities for the Irish clothing? Are there other places you can go with that? Can you
Oh yeah, you
expand
can
on it?
expound on it a lot.
Yeah, and that's great. I mean, that's a perfect example of, that it resonated. So why leave that alone?
And I will add to that what Melissa just said. And don't take one, maybe even two persons. Well, I don't like this, because that might be them. I write Christian murder mysteries, but my protagonist is a fashion designer, and a couple people were saying, you put too much fashion in it. I used to be a fashion designer for weddings, so to me, I love it. But then now my readers, my pre-readers right now are like, these are the sections I love, and it is that fashion stuff, because people think it's cool. So don't take the words of just one or two people.
That's great.
Yeah, really good advice.
Yeah, I'm seeing here, Pam says, we really don't know what's going to catch attention. We need to keep posting and hope. And that's true. I mean, those trends on TikTok, well, I never mentioned TikTok because my reader isn't there, and I'm not a fan. I don't get so much of what is popular there and why. The best we can do is we can take advantage of those hot topics or those trends by putting our own spin on it. Like, I don't know, can you think of a trend? There was a trend like the ice bucket challenge, or let's say, I'll go way back to the ice bucket challenge. I don't know why that popped into my head, but if you don't want to do that ice bucket challenge, you could do, okay, Kathy, you said you were Christian murder mystery. You could do something with a bucket challenge where pieces of paper come down with the different characters' name who are suspects. Okay, So you have you tap into that trend and you personalize it.
Great idea. Yep. It's inspiration abounding now.
Yeah.
Mhm. Sophia, you have a question.
Well, I've been trying to think about this whole repurposing thing. And a couple years ago, I did 12 months worth of articles for Almost an Author. And they were like the kind of the what I learned as I was starting out as an author. And I'm thinking about recording them, like doing a video recording where I can, and then releasing little snippets of them onto Instagram and Facebook.
Okay.
So it's just hard because thank you for reminding us, because I keep thinking, well, I've already said this. I don't want to bore people, or I don't want to restate what I've said.
Yeah.
Mom of teenagers, you say it once, they've heard it. They're not going to hear it better if you say it again.
Right.
But I think I need to do this. That's my next step.
Yes, because I think taking something like that and putting snippets in it, but I mean, perfect example is reading one of your, I mean, you can make a video of you reading one of your quotes. Right? 6 seconds. That's it. You just repost the quote and do a narration over it. My favorite quote, or, I love this quote about writing or about mystery, whatever. And that way you have the quote again. You could go in Canva and put a different background on it. But Sophia, that's absolutely a perfect way to go through and put snippets of what you have. And, kind of unfortunately, people aren't paying that much attention to any of us, right? There's so much noise on social media that our memories, we can't possibly remember what every single person did day by day. So don't worry about, I don't want to say this again. As long as it's
Actually, you should
hey,
say it again, because if you think about the number of people that follow us and are following everybody else, most likely the majority of the people that follow us are going to miss what we say the first, second, third time, and they might hit it the fifth, sixth, seventh if we repeat it. But if we don't repeat it, the chances of many people seeing it is much slimmer. If you think
Because
about Twitter, there's a small window of
Yeah.
posts that you see for all the people that you follow. And if you don't go back, or you don't go back at a different time of the day, you're going to miss a whole ton of something you might want to see. But if somebody puts it out again later, puts it out again later at intervals, then we're more apt to see those pieces of information. So don't be afraid to repost.
Right. Because Facebook notifications, nothing shows in order. They choose what comes up on your news feed. You don't know who's going to see what. So you really do have to repeat.
right?
At one of the conferences I was at, because I do I do word camps, which is WordPress conferences, and they said that, and this was 3-4 years ago, only 7% of the people that choose to follow you, get to see what you post. And if you put a link in your post, it drops it even further. If you're linking off of Facebook onto your website in your post, Facebook shows it to even fewer people.
You have to put it in the comment. You have to put it in the
make
comments
sure you
now.
get people when you go to somebody's post. And Melissa, you were doing this a few weeks back. You were going to people's posts, to their pages. If you comment on their pages, if you love it, not like it, the thumbs up does
anything but
nothing.
like. Anything but like. Yep.
No, don't do anything negative. Negative will actually reduce the amount of shows.
Okay.
The AI see that as this is a bad post.
Okay.
So if you put a sad face, they see it as a bad post. But comment on these, and comment and then share with a comment. Engage with and they'll engage with you. But my point was, a friend of mine she has 10,000 followers on her Facebook page.
Wow.
And Facebook sent her one of those boost this. And they said, boost this for $40 and it'll be shared with 700 people. And she said, this is insane. I have 10,000 followers.
Yeah.
And you want me to pay you $40 to show 700 people what I
And
just
actually,
did.
that doesn't really, the boosting doesn't really work anyway. You're throwing your money away.
I haven't tried the boost simply because I want to make sure if I'm going to boost something, it's worth it. It's something that I feel has to be boosted. And I guess I haven't posted anything that great that I feel like deserves to be boosted. But I love here, Sally says, tend the fields that produce fruit. Beautiful. Yeah. Stay where your people are. That's not to say you can't branch out. Like I was talking about doing the blog swap or a newsletter mention for mention. You always want to continue to seek new audiences, but you want to make sure that that new group of people are still your people. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
You did say at the beginning to know our audience. I will give one hint that helped me so much with that. A friend of mine said, instead of having this whole audience that you are trying to hone in on, take one person out of that, make them fictional. But I've got her right up here. I've got a picture of her. I have what she does for a living, how many kids she has. It's one person I'm writing for, besides God, but one person I can picture. And I just have to say, okay, what does Anita want to hear? Anita is actually a friend of my son's who is in my thing, but Anita is fictional. The person she is a person. And that helps so much instead of trying to, okay, what would this person and this person and this person all in this group like, but more honed in. It really helped me.
That's great. That's great. Because then then that's much easier for you to decide, do I want to do a blog swap with this person? Is Anita reading that? Is Anita's cousin reading it? Right? Does Anita need to know this? And if the answer is no to all of those, then pick a different blog. Yeah, great. Any other questions?
So what do you, I'm wondering, what do you think is some of the more popular of your 31-day challenges?
You know what? I think the part that the people have had the most benefit from is at the very beginning. Some of the tasks are simply to go through your social media and decide which ones do you want to stick with, which ones do you want to spend most of your time with, and they feel like they've been given permission to let the other stuff go. And I think another big hit has been simply, where am I going and how am I going to get there? Simply thinking through, why are you on Twitter? Why? If you're there for fun, fantastic. Have a great time, but don't expect to get book sales from it. So I think that it's the very beginning.
Maybe
the
staying
homework.
on Twitter just to save your Twitter handle from being deleted is not a good enough reason to stay.
Well, keep the
Excuse me,
handle.
I should say
handle.
X.
Yeah, right.
X
So-
instead of Twitter.
Yeah, I refuse. I'm sorry. I refuse to call it X. It's Twitter. But yeah, but you can still keep it, but just realize that you
Well,
aren't going to read it.
supposedly they'll delete it if you don't use it. So
Oh, if you don't continue to use it?
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. That's a new thing of like everything else, like the name.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that at the beginning, and also at the beginning, I have just people do their homework on, now go to each of your social media websites. How old is your biopic? Did you update it with your
Yep.
latest book? Did you what does your little bio thing say? When I did that, I thought, oh my gosh, it says I have 16 books and something else. I'm like, that's like 4 years ago. So
Yeah.
it was eye-opening even for me, just to go through and check your own information on your own pages.
That would be a good thing to do every turn of the year. Just say, oh, it's a new year, time to check on my bio and my photo.
That's a very good point.
Great idea.
Or
Kinda like
do it,
doing
you
your
know,
spring-
when you have to, yeah, like the changing the clocks, time to change the smoke alarm batteries, time to change my bio and a photo if I need to.
Right.
I was
That's
thinking
nice.
kind of
Good
like
way to
spring
think it.
cleaning.
Yeah. Bissy, will you talk a little bit about your book?
Oh, I would love to. So it is Mommy and Me Micro Moments, 5-minute devotional activities for moms and kids. And it is kind of a spin on your average devotional because it has the quote and instead of an essay, it's an activity for moms to do with their little one. And all of the activities vary. I have 4 different themes. So one of them might be draw a picture of what you see outside your window. Because, 10 years from now, they're either going to have a different window or that view is going to be different. And so you get to capture literally where you are in that moment. Some of them are fill in the blanks, like what's my favorite color? Who's my favorite friend? What's my favorite outfit? The types of details that are going, at that age are going to change rapidly, but you get to capture it right then and there. Because a lot of these things that I came up with were because my kids asked me things that I couldn't remember. And I'm like, oh, I think it was definitely yellow. Yellow used to be your favorite color. And then it went to green. Ooh, no, wait, that was your brother. Just silly things like that. But so there's kinds of information like that isn't necessarily random, but there's all kinds of things. There's jokes that you can tell your child. There is all kinds of opportunity. One of them is you draw your child's hand, and then you put your hand over it and you draw the outline of your hand. And the quote is a Bible about God holding us in his hand. And then you get to talk to your child about, I'm holding you in my hand, and someday your hand is going to be bigger than mine. And it's really sweet. So you get to see that image forever. You're always going to be able to capture that tiny little hand. And it's very fun. Then there's a prayer for mom and child to say after the activity. And then there's a prayer just for mom. And it's very sweet.
That sounds like really, really neat. I like that interaction that you've created in that.
Yeah, it's very nice. So I call it micro moments because they're questions and things, pictures that you're just a tiny bit of time that is going to go away before you know it. So it's a great keepsake to capture.
Very true. Thank you so much. So we'll have to look for that.
Yep, comes out May 12th. In fact, I haven't you guys are the first to see this part of the book cover because I haven't released it yet.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Great. You'll have to share that with Writers Chat members over on Facebook when it's out. We would love that. Thank you.
And congratulations to that too. It's going to be quite a treasure for moms and kids, I think.
Thank you. Yeah. I hope it does resonate because it's the book I wish I had when, if you have, especially if you have more than one child. Yeah.
Yep.
So we're getting pretty close to the top of the hour. And before we do go, I want to let you know about what we're going to have next week. In fact, our guest is with us today. Oh no, Sophia is going to be joining us to talk about her writer's journey and sharing that with us. Sophia, do you want to maybe share a little bit about what we'll be hearing next week?
Okay. I have been so blessed by groups like groups by Writers Chat, and my first talk here on my author's journey was on beginning, on taking those baby steps. And through those baby steps, God has brought me to a place where I've had my first novel released. And it's been a great first quarter, and I'm just going to talk about taking the next steps. Because, oh, it's noisy, I'm babysitting 2 dogs. So I'm going to be talking about the next steps and the importance of looking for them, finding people to join you in the journey, and not being afraid of them. So I love your talk, Bitsy. I mean, this is just so applicable. And my plan is to take this video, to take your stuff and just like, drill down on it with a couple of friends and just try to get community. You might even have that on your site. I don't even know, but I'm really excited about trying to implement these steps because it's my next step. So thank you.
Great.
Yeah, this has been a fantastic show for all the information shared, and I hope that it's inspired a lot of people to get out there and try these things and to try the challenge. It'll be a fun thing, especially for writers who maybe feel like they're in a rut and aren't sure where to go. This will be a good starting foundation for them, I think.
Okay. Now, if you want a copy of the presentation that I gave, I'm happy to share that as well.
That would be awesome. I
Great.
know.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I can share that.
Thank you.
And as soon as I figure out how to enlarge my calendar without having to cut and paste everything there, I will give that as well to everyone as a handout.
Awesome. Thank you so
Great.
much.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Betty, you mentioned there's a Christian writing contest coming up. Would you like to share about that while we are still recording?
Yes, I would. So a year ago, ACFW, we formed a chapter for children's writers. And now we have a contest, and it's open to anybody. You don't have to be a member of ACFW. We have categories from board books, picture books, chapter books, middle grade, and young adult. I put a link in the chat, but we are open to people judging for us. We are open to people submitting to us. We had to delay it by a week just because of technical problems and people having jobs and people being sick and some things like that. But we should be ready to be open on April 22nd. And yes, several people from here are judges. And if you're not sure about the judging, we have training for that. Patricia Morris has put together a whole big training thing for that. I'm going to have by this weekend a how to submit training. So, because we're getting a lot of questions from people who are brand new to this process. And so I hope to have something that's really step-by-step detail. Monday, we will be open for submissions. And we are really excited about this. We hope that you can support us in some way, either by being a judge or by submitting. It's a wonderful opportunity for the Christian writers, for the children.
That's great. The website for that is, for those watching, it is www.acfwkidlit.com. And what is the deadline for submissions on that? Because that's the big day. You always got to have the deadline.
Yes, it will be probably, I'm going to say this because we had to delay it, but delay it a week. It will probably be the April 15th was our original start date, where our original stop date was May 15th. The board still needs to decide whether we stretch that a little longer.
Okay, so May 15th aim for, and you might get a little grace period after that. Got it. So if you're catching this replay before May 15th, check out that contest and think about submitting. So thank you everybody for joining us today. We're so glad you're with us. Thank you, Bitsy. It's been a great session today. For all of you that are watching the replay, thank you for watching. Everybody that's been here, thank you for being here. Catch us next week, same time, same place, Tuesday on Zoom, 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Central Time. And if you want to know how to get into these live sessions, come see us on Facebook. Our Facebook members page, which is Writers Chat members. I think I got that right. Having a brain cramp. And then you can always catch all of our replays on Serious Writers YouTube channel in the Writers Chat playlist. So I'll ask everybody that's currently here to stick around for the after party, and thank you everybody. We'll catch everybody next week. Thanks. Bye-bye.